How to play Doctor Doom. Now, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, I love this champion. It's a champion I rave about, and for a lot of players, it is indeed the same. There's so many practical uses for Doctor Doom over different ranges of content, so saying exactly how to play Doctor Doom is obviously applicable to whatever content you're doing. Now, you could just say from fights, all you need to do really is build up to an SP3, go into the aura of Hazaroth, and then just hit into the enemy, taking all that lovely power away from them, smashing in an SP2, and that would be easy, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, but let's not do that for the sake of this video. Doctor Doom's kit, he has an ability to do shock, which, let's face it, if you've done variant 3, you'll know by the end of it, when you go up against that typically frustrating Kang the Conqueror, that doing a stun will be beneficial to apply to get you through to the end, and as well hit down the damage on the enemy. Obviously a lot of other shock champions do apply, but let's say for the sake of this video, let's just use this champion as being, this is one of the goats of that. So Doom's resilience gives him an immunity to armor break, armor shatter, and shock effects, which is very, very helpful for a lot of different content he grinds out. One thing to mention is he's amazing against cosmic champions because they get a lot of buffs, and you can look to put in a shock damage and then click down for a heavy attack, which then obviously does that lovely pimp slap, which, let's face it, puts stag on as well, can suppress a lot of things. Recently found it quite fun going up against that Guillotine 2099 because it suppresses her going into that particular mode, which allows champions to miss attacks. That method has applications to very different things. Life Cycle, for example, in 6.2.1, and as well Icarus in 6.2.3. That just ability to have a cool way to guarantee yourself doing the stun and as well doing the knockdown, which is beneficial for doing Icarus, and as well kind of likewise with doing Life Cycle. It just benefits the whole kind of process of getting through that very difficult content and resetting certain things, or applying to then take down the enemy when it comes to Life Cycle. Don't forget to add Diablo or Annihilus to your team, probably Annihilus, because heavy attacks guaranteed a critical hit, which obviously is going to be beneficial because you're going to see some nice damage, and especially when you're looking to end the enemy off, it's nice to have that guaranteed crit always there. Also, that's incredibly cool if you've got answer to no one and obviously you've killed off all your other synergy members. It does mean your attack rating is going to go up quite a bit. So very handy if you've got him on your team and then you're going up against the boss. He is the lead champion you're going to use. It just means that it's better practice to use that one as opposed to any others that you're going to revive again, more damage output. The champion's SP2 is pretty powerful when it comes to incinerate damage, and especially if you are looking to chain in certain specials like going from your SP3, so instilling power when you're in Aura of Hazaroth, and as well getting that Fury buff up from doing so, and then building up, grabbing a load of power from the enemy, and then smashing in an SP2. So it's quite a nice idea to chain in special attacks, especially as you're power gaining and power draining and all those things, especially if the enemy is something like Hyperion that's got a power gain buff. You're able to steal that power, that building, and also can use it to your advantage. Now, damage output is amplified if you have Suicide Masteries on. And the same thing can really be said for Mystic Dispersion, so two things that you could be running at the time. At the moment, I'm not running Suicide Masteries, but I do consider in the future to do that. But do bear in mind, by running that, it is important to have a diverse roster that really benefits from Suicide Mastery switch. Like, for example, I've got Iron Man Infinity War, Domino, Corvusclave, Iceman, and so many others that would benefit from that. So that's all about the decision. And also not to forget Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Ghost, etc, etc. If I was to describe Doctor Doom, I would call him the man for all seasons, or the champion for all seasons. Going into things like Act 6, Alliance Quest, Alliance Wars, Defense, Offense, and as well variants. He's been handy in Abyss of Legends, in so many other bits of content, and it is a very much go-to champion for a lot of players for different reasons. I like to use him in monthly quests, which I think have been quite effective, and as well utilizing for different things like Act 6 has been vital to my roster making further progression based on his abilities to power control, as well as nullify, and as well as the damage output, especially from SP2s and other types of abilities. Now, you can have a little bit more fun with the champion with certain synergy pair-ups, and I would recommend the Silver Surfer one, especially when it comes to the Aura of Hazaroth getting an additional buff. If you're kind of triggering off that Aura of Hazaroth every single time, then you could have Silver Surfer on your team triggering off an extra buff. And Silver Surfer is a good champion, especially in the right hands. Getting that Fury increase, that power rate increase, that armor up, and power rate increase with a Mystic Dispersion's mastery could be exceptional for your roster and further progression. So just to go over how to play him, now it will be specific to the person and the way you want to play and also the nodes you're going up against, because this method will not work all the time. There will be certain nodes where this method has to change. So build up to an SP3, then it's the case that you can then fire that off. You'll get the enemy into a passive stun, and then it's a case of building up the lights and mediums and trying to hit on through to obviously absorb some of that power, then hitting off another special attack like an SP1, absorbing the power from the enemy, hitting out maybe an SP2 and watching the damage fly. Obviously other synergies put in place could help out and work better. Also, if you're looking to more nullification and as well kind of suppressing a lot of buffs coming on, like going up against the likes of Medusa, Hyperion, etc., then it might be more applicable to just throw SP1s. Also, using the method of stunning the enemy if they are stunnable based on shock. So if the enemy is shocked, then you're able to go into a heavy attack by pressing down on the right side, and then you'll go into a pimp slap. The pimp slap will stagger the enemy, and then it's the case that will help out to suppress any buffs that are coming into that enemy. So that is going to be something to work on, and obviously based on how you play it, it's completely up to you depending on the content you're going up against. But obviously a lot of people will play this champion very different to the way that maybe I play it or maybe other people are. But again, it's all about suppressing buffs. It's all about trying to maximize your damage output based on special attack throwing. And yes, Suicide Masteries can be helpful, and as well, not to mention the improvements from Synergies. Anyway, check out some content on screen at the moment. And as always, I shall catch you in the next video. Bye bye for now.